Well, new documents show NSA surveillance intercepted dozens of, quote, potential terror plots. And intelligence officials also say of all the telephone metadata collected last year, they delved into only 300 cases. Senator Richard Blumenthal sits on the Judiciary and Armed Services Committees. He joins us live to talk about the NSA and much more. Senator, welcome.
Thank you very much. Great to be with you.
All right, I want to ask you, because you have access to information beyond what even the public does, are you comfortable with the NSA surveillance programs, the limits that are in place? Are you comfortable that privacy versus security is being adequately balanced?
I am not going to be comfortable until I learn more and the American public learns more. There's a need for fuller, fair disclosure. This debate is very healthy because throughout our history, we've tried to strike a balance between the needs of security, they are more dire and pressing than ever before, and our civil rights and liberties, including our right to privacy. And so far, I'm not satisfied that we've struck the right balance. For example, the rulings and orders and opinions of the special court that was established under the Foreign Intelligence Security Act, the so-called FISA court, still have not been made public, even to members of the United States Congress and Senate on the Armed Services Committee. We have not been fully informed as to the basis for those orders by this supposed watchdog court that is supposed to issue warrants, and I think there is a need for greater disclosure, fuller debate, and perhaps a narrowing of laws that apply to these surveillance programs.
And I know there's a bipartisan measure that's been introduced in the Senate that would push for the court to reveal more of those opinions. Is that something that you've signed on to or would sign on to?
I supported that measure when FISA, the Foreign Intelligence Security Act, Surveillance Act, was reauthorized back in December of last year. I'm supporting again now, one of the leading co-sponsors as a prosecutor for 4.5 years as United States Attorney and then 20 years as Attorney General. I believe that warrants are necessary to do certain kinds of surveillance and seek and obtain certain kinds of records. And I think the FISA court was established not only so that it would be watchful about the government's activities, but also accountable. And there's no way of holding it accountable if its activities are not disclosed in any way, shape, or form. We can delete and retract sensitive information in those rulings and opinions, but still make them public. And so, very definitely, yes, I support that measure.
All right. I want to turn to the issue of gun control. It wasn't successfully passed after much debate in the Senate earlier this year. There were a number of amendments. There were a number of Democrats who did not get on board with some of the tougher proposals. Where do you see that go moving forward?
Shannon, excellent question, especially appropriate on the 6-month anniversary of Sandy Hook, which we commemorated literally the day before yesterday. 6 months since 20 beautiful children and 6 great educators were gunned down, massacred in a hail of bullets by a deranged individual, and yet on April 17th, the Senate, in effect, said no to America. But I don't believe America is going to take no for an answer. The majority leader has committed to bring the bill back when we have 60 votes. We had 55 supporters, which ordinarily, without the Senate's arcane anti-democratic rules, would be enough in a democratic institution to pass a measure. It will be brought back. Background checks will be on the floor of the Senate again, along with, very likely, I hope, a bill to ban illegal trafficking, straw purchases, as well as excess capacity magazines. And I believe that we can make America safer and better through these measures, which in no way, I want to stress, Shannon, no way take away anybody's Second Amendment rights or anybody's guns if they are law-abiding people. Let's take guns out of the hands of people who are dangerous to themselves or others, criminals who shouldn't have them, so we can prevent another Sandy Hook. And I believe that bill will be brought back by the end of the year.
How will you convince your Democratic colleagues who didn't seem to be convinced of those points the last time around?
Essentially, Shannon, by arguing to them, as we must do to the American people, that it's the right thing to do, that it involves no abridgment of Second Amendment rights or no practical impact on law-abiding gun owners, and also appealing to their constituents. 90% of the American people and the vast majority of people in their states support these common sense, reasonable measures that very simply protect lawful gun owners as well as others. NRA members have said to me they believe background checks are appropriate. So I think mobilizing and organizing is the key, so we stop the special interests from holding sway as they have in the past. And just one last point. When you think back on it, and I have reflected a lot over these last 48 hours as I've been all around the state of Connecticut at the openings of playgrounds and ceremonies commemorating this 6-month anniversary of Vigil on Friday night. You know, 6 months ago, this issue, the whole topic of gun violence prevention, was thought to be politically untouchable. I think we have come a long way since then, and we're going to be making more progress as the memories and the momentum are sustained.
All right, Senator Richard Blumenthal will continue to stay tuned in as that debate continues on. Thanks for your time today.